Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here at Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa. Boy, we got a treat today. We were in the secret back room where all the amazing British bikes are. This is the most amazing one I've ever seen in here. Well, maybe the second most amazing one. They did have a new Hudson here for a while. I don't know if that's British or not, but look at this thing. This is a 1951 Vincent Rapide. I don't know what else to say. I don't really know a lot about Vincent's. I know very little actually, but I'm just in awe. I've been looking at this thing for the last hour, just for the last hour really. All the little details are just mind-blowing. Has two drum brakes on the back. One here and one over there. They're finned. So two brake mechanisms, one on each side. Here's the brake, like electronics for the brake. You go to the front, same thing. Two drum brakes, one on each side. They're finned. You know, just amazing. It looks like you can take the front tire off without tools. I was talking to Randy Baxter, the owner here. You can take the whole back end off, back wheel off, without any tools. It's got these little things here that you can just, twist them off. Absolutely amazing. You can get the fender up right here. Loosen that up, comes up. This is for the rear stand, to hold the rear stand. Look at that chrome fender, isn't that just beautiful? We don't know what these are for. If you all know, please post. I'd love to know. We were kind of looking at them. We don't know if they're like a seat adjustment or what they are. Very interesting. Just a lot of detail. Okay, let's go to the engine. Let's start with that. 1951. It's about 1,000cc engine. It's a V-twin. I think they said it was a 50-degree. I know the early ones were 47.5. I think these are 50 degrees, air-cooled. Now just look at this. It just looks massive, doesn't it? The engine's a stress member. Now I just want to look over here. This is a Harley-Davidson 1,000cc engine. Now compare that to this. This just has so much more fin area. It's just a whole different animal in that sense. Twin carbs. This one has concentric carbs. I'm all concentric carbs. They didn't come from the factory with those, but that's what it has now. This bike was sold by Baxter Cycle about 16 years ago to a guy in New Mexico, and they just got it back. He used it as a daily rider. It's got what do you call it, Alton or something like that, Alton generator. It's also got a electric starter on the bottom, Alton electric starter. I don't know if I can get a view of that down here. There's a big bump right there. And so it's also been converted to 12 volt. It's got the 12 volt system. It still has the magnetos, or magneto up here underneath this cover. Here's the wires. Very interesting. I'm just in awe of this whole thing. Every little detail of this thing is just otherworldly, Okay, let's stick with the engine. So 2 valves per cylinder. Overhead valve, cams are down here, cams are right about there, for each one. They wanted short push rods. I'm assuming you adjust your valves through these little ports here, maybe up here, I'm not sure. I'd love to see this mechanism. I might have to dig up a book and see what I can learn about that. The engine was also part of the stress member of the frame. So there's a backbone that comes across here. The engine bolted up here, probably back here, I'm guessing back here, and then down here, the rear end of the bike bolts to that. So if you took the engine, put it on a box, put the bike on a box, you could unbolt the whole front area and you could unbolt the whole back area, and you'd just be left with the engine and this backbone thing. Very interesting. Just bizarro. It's got this kind of it looks like a monoshock, but there's actually 2 shocks, one on each side, one there and one there. And then there's something in the middle. I don't know if that's a dampener or what that is. If you all know, again, please, like I said, please post. I really am interested in this one. I'm interested in all of them, of course. It's got this really interesting kind of a diamond shape. I think they were calling it a diamond cradle or something like that. Rear end, bolts to the engine there. It's got this arm that goes up here, leg that goes out here, and then this here. So you got this triangular shaped thing. Oh, and by the way, this is how you adjust the chain right here, one on each side. Like I said, you could do the whole thing without tools. Take the back wheel, adjust the chain, all that stuff without tools. Big drawer in here so you can loosen things. This for the brakes, this for the chain adjuster. Anyway, just amazing. Alternator is right back here. Alton alternator, I think is what he called it. This is a gear indicator right here. It's 1 up, 3 down, 4 speeds. Just look at that. It looks like the transmission is part of the engine. I can't be sure about that, but it certainly looks like that. What do y'all think? Oh yeah, look at this side. That's really progressive for the era, isn't it? And just look at this primary. Massive. I love it. It looks heavy, but it looks light, you know? So this motorcycle is supposed to weigh, I think I read 450 some odd pounds. This is a Vincent Model C, by the way, 1951. But just wow, you know, there's absolutely no trim underneath here. This one's had the side stand add-on put on. We think that's an add-on. It does have the original factory front ones here. Everything I read says don't use those. There's one on each side, one there, and then there's another one over here. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. 2-in-1 exhaust system. Look at all this aluminum plate, you know, just fabulous. I think they said, I read Vincent made about 11,000 motorcycles between 1929 and 1955, 1928, 1929, 1955, and they made about 2,500 or 3,000 of these 1,000cc V-twins. It's absolutely just wow motorcycle. I'm not sure what that is. Little hollow spot. Gerdrolic front end, they called this. That was a trait of the Model C. I think before that it was not Gerdrolic. I mean, it has the girder front end, but it has this hydraulic stabilizer stuff in here. Now I'm pointing at that vaguely because I'm not really sure of what makes it a Gerdrolic. I do know it is called a Gerdrolic. But now let's look at these brakes. Here's the speedo drive right here. Check it out. So here's the brake, drum on each side, adjuster right here for this side, adjuster right here for this side, and like I said, you can take the tire off without tools again. I think they're supposed to have a 19 front and back. One model might have had a 20 and a 19, 20 on the front, 19 on the back. Absolutely gorgeous. I love these external oil lines. That's a trait of older motorcycles. You know, I know why we don't use them anymore. They leak, or opportunity for leaks, but just a gorgeous thing. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. They're so large diameter. Beautiful. I believe it's a dry sump. And that's the oil is in here in the frame. The little frame, remember, there is an oil. That's where you put it in and out. Fuel over here, separate from that separate tank from the oil tank. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm in absolute awe. Something I wanted to make sure I showed you all. I hope I can open it. I haven't looked at this yet. This is like a tool tray. Metal tool tray. You're supposed to keep your, I suppose, like a glove compartment for the motorcycle. Now it opens both ways. You can open it from both sides, I believe. Check that out. Isn't that amazing? And you're supposed to carry your tools in there, you know, I suppose. Just a real work of art. Every little detail is just, you know, fascinating. It's supposed to be the original taillight. Let's see if the brakes work. No, that's not a brake. That is a shifter. Yeah, brake light still works. Like I said, it's supposed to be original taillight. I think I mentioned already they went to a 12-volt system on this one. Alton, something like that, alternator system. Wow, just a gorgeous thing. Okay, up here, compression release right here. Clutch, brake, choke. This one is a single choke. Horn. We think this is high-low here. And I think that's the start button. I'm going to notice I said I think because I'm not sure. I did watch some video, guys riding this. This has got the 5-inch speedo. The speedo goes up and down the whole way because it's part of the front end, you know, part of the Gerdrolic, I think is what I've been calling it, system on the front. But isn't that just an amazing speedometer? This one's in kilometers. Supposed to, in miles, it was supposed to go to 150. So I don't know what that is in kilometers, but just amazing. These bikes were supposed to be capable of, the Rapides were supposed to go 150 to 120, and the Black Shadows were supposed to go, I think, 125. And that's really amazing for a 1951 motorcycle right out of the factory. You know, just, it's a real spaceship. It's a real spaceship, and I really want to ride this thing. They told me I could. However, our weather is not cooperating, so I want to talk to y'all about that in a minute. I want to show you all something here real quick. I'm always fascinated with brakes, and this one has really got something. Look at this. So you got this adjuster here, pivot point right back here on this arm, comes up to here, cable down to here to this thing right here, which goes back to here to a fulcrum back here, which goes up to an arm. Now watch that as it moves. And that arm runs back to here, and that runs that side. It also goes through here, through this that pivot point right there, for this brake back here, for this arm. So absolutely amazing. And there's electronics right there. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And while we're at it, we might as well look at the front, right? Here's the adjusters right here and right here. I think I might have pointed those out earlier. Let's pull on that again. Stamp levers. Ah, what a thing of beauty. Steering dampener. Anyway, I'd love to ride this, and our weather is crap, so I can't. Not today. They've promised me I can ride it about 8 miles or so. I want to do more. So y'all get on your computers, go to baxtercycle.com, contact Randy, say Fuzzy Biker, ride the Vincent now. Send him that message or something like that. That is my greed. I just want to ride this so bad. And I'd like to ride it 50 miles or so, you know, if I can get away with it. But I'll take the 8 that they promised me, 6 or 8 that they promised me. I'm just so impressed by this thing. So these were real kings of speed, you know, in their day. And quite a bit different. I think this is I'm going to guess a 79 maybe. You know, V-twin, 1000cc, very different looking motorcycle. A lot of these bikes, you know, through the late 50s, 60s, and into the early 70s, they were turned into drag bikes. I'm going to show you something. Let's walk over here right quick. And a lot of them got racetracked, and, you know, they had a lot of power for their time, a lot of torque, I guess. But they got turned into things like this. Now, this is a Vincent also. Check this one out. 1952 Rapide drag bike, 1000cc plus, $140,000. And this is what happened to them. This one has the, check out that carburetor system. My gosh, big old clutch system. Absolutely amazing thing. Oh, there's the other carburetor hiding back here. This is actually the gas tank right here in this one. So that's, you know, that was the fate for many of these beautiful bikes. A lot of us would think that's a shame, and it is today. But in the time back then, that was, you know, that was normal. That was what you did. You wanted to go, you know, the gods of speed need appeased. And that's how they got appeased. With this Rapide, with these Rapides and Black Shadows. And I think in 1955, and I saw one at a bike show once in Davenport, Iowa. They had one that was fully faired. I can't remember what that one was called. If you know what that model, the fully faired model is called, please post. Again, I can look it up, but and I will look it up actually. But just beautiful. I want to point out, I don't know if I pointed this out already. Look at this Kickstarter. Look how long that is. From here, it's like from here to here, it's got to be 16 inches from center point to center point here. Look how long that arm is. Just a real piece of, hey, air pump. Check it out. This is a vent tube for the engine. That probably goes out the back. See if you can find that. Back in the old days, that was how you vented your engines. Today we run them into the air filter, and when you start the bike up, it sucks it back into the engine and burns it again. But let's see, fuel here and fuel on this side. So you want to run this bike, you'd go out to your garage, you'd check to see if it was something, you know, look at the oil tank, make sure the oil's in the oil tank and not on the bottom of the case. If it was in the bottom of the case, you drain it out, put it back in the tank, because you know, otherwise you'd have a sump full of oil. You'd turn on your gas, you'd tickle your carburetors. Of course, back then they wouldn't have had concentrics, they'd have had whatever they had back then. That was probably pre-monoblock, so I can't remember what the carburetors before that, but I think they were Amals. And then you get everything primed up and start your kicking life. I think the idea was you get it to where your kick, you do your big kick, and right as you're getting done with your kick, you let go of the compression release, and that the momentum of the motor, or the flywheel, you know, the rotating mass, takes it through and hopefully starts the motor up. Just a thing of beauty. I really hope we get to ride this one soon. My goal is to try to ride this next week if possible. We've got a couple 50-degree days, but our roads are just crap, and it would be a sin to take something like this out. Now, if y'all are interested in this bike, I think they tagged it at, I want to say 63 or 65 or something like that. If you go to their website, baxtercycle.com, you can get more information on this particular bike, or call call and ask for Randy or Jeremy. They can both help you out on this. It's a bike that if you're interested in, you're really going to want to talk to the either Jeremy or Randy. They're the experts on these kind of things. Like I said, this was a daily rider for a guy in New Mexico, and like it's got the starting system, the 12-volt upgrade. It's been made to go in that sense. Made into a daily rider kind of machine. It's got the side stand. I don't know what they did with the headlight. It looks like a regular bulb in there. So, here's the alternator thing right here. I can't read that. It says Miller, maybe? Miller? Oh yeah, Miller. That's a Miller gauge right there. I wonder what kind of gauge this is. That is a Smith gauge. Hey, there's a guy down the road. I say it every time. There's a guy down the road. He does repairs on Smith gauges. He can put new faces on them, print new faces, recrimp them, new glass, rebuild the insides. He's an expert at it. I'll put his website right above here. Absolutely lovely piece of machinery. Crazy thing, I was just talking to Randy Baxter's. They actually have parts for some of these things, or they have suppliers for parts. And he's saying parts availability. He said they can get 19 out of 20 things you need for these bikes yet. That's really quite a thing that's really quite a thing for a motorcycle that was only made, what did I say, 25 to 3,000? So it's really interesting that that's available. I'm pining. I don't know when to stop here. So I'm going to let you guys go. Again, if y'all are interested in this motorcycle, BaxterCycle.com right there. Talk to Randy. Tell him Fuzzy Biker sent you. If y'all are interested in a newer used Royal Enfield Triumph classic British bike of any type, get yourself over here to Baxter Cycle in Marnie, Iowa, or go to BaxterCycle.com. Tell them Fuzzy Biker sent you. Now, if it's a nice day out where you are, better than the day we got today, get yourselves out there and ride, my friends. Life is excellent. Wahoo!